So our first combination was Balancer, and Balancer was discovered. Being a bit of a left brain person, I had a really hard time with all the research we were doing at the time. It all seemed way too off the wall, no matter that Corey's cancer went away, no matter that people said they were getting results. I mean, Deepak wasn't big in my life then, so I didn't know anything about overwhelming anecdotal evidence. And, you know, everything was black and white in medicine, right? And
not in TCM.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you for TCM, exactly. And that's, you know what? That's one of the reasons we're so successful around the world. Because at some point I realized, well, very early on, right from the beginning, I realized that understanding them in the context of TCM would be a huge bridge in people's consciousness. And I remember the first time I went to teach in Rio de Janeiro, there was 80 doctors in this room, like 80 doctors, medical doctors and psychiatrists, and they all came because I knew Chinese medicine. And because in Brazil, they already really love flower essences. I mean, they really get, like, they must all have a piece of the Bach energy in them already, because they totally are connected with plants and the healing power of plants and of vibration. They really get it. Anyway, back to me and my research stuff. So we'd done all the kinesiology. I was already a touch for health therapist, and I knew how to, practitioner, and I already knew how all the muscles related to the meridians, so I knew how to test. But I wasn't still convinced. So I took it to this guy in Seattle who had an electroacupuncture machine, a Vega machine, and you could put the substance in a circuit connected to the patient, and you could determine by the reading on this machine, on this instrument, what meridian it was affecting. And much to my surprise, I was very surprised in the 80s. I spent most of the 80s being surprised. All the stuff that we'd done with kinesiology and with like annotating what people in my classes had said about their experiences and stuff like that, which then I could relate to meridians or whatever. That was my, you know, ultimate database kind of thing. Was confirmed by this guy between 95 and 98%. So then we published a book and it went from there. But during the process of that testing, that's another interesting thing, the very first combination came up, and the first combination was Balancer. And actually one of my patients helped me design that label when I was giving her shiatsu one day, and I was seeing this pyramid floating over her body. Anyway, what happened was, the subject was on the table and he'd already had 24 essences or 30 essences sort of put into the circuit to respond to. And he was kind of tired. Big, athletic kind of guy. And the naturopath, Michael Adams, said, oh, I think somehow those last three together are kind of like rescue remedy. I went, well, we can't make rescue remedy, because we knew that rescue remedy was already made, right? But I said, well, why don't we put it together and see what happens? So we put it together, gave it to the guy on the table to see what response he had. And literally, you know how somebody can be completely drained 1 minute and then revitalized? Well, that's what happened. It was like we'd sent him in to have a shower under a waterfall, and he was completely revitalized. So Balancer was our first essence, and it was first combination essence, and it was the one for dealing with really harsh, stressful situations, like being in rush hour traffic, or being in some, you know, being before an exam or a competition or something like that. Over the years, I've had lots of experience using it with animals, especially hummingbirds that fly into windows and stuff like that. Never had to bury one yet. And once I even had the experience of harming one of our maple trees. It just like the way I'd put the spade in the ground, it just like fell over and split the tree, and I was devastated because I knew that one of the reasons the spade had fallen over was because I was like having these really angry thoughts. You know what I mean? Like everything, it's all connected in the environment, you know? And so here's my little tree, and it's literally split down the middle, and I go get the balancer and I put the drops in the tree, and then I get some green tape just to hold it together to see if it'll rebond. And that tree is now this big.
So you sprayed balancer on the tree?
I put it like right in the core of the center of where I'd split it. Lots of people use essences with plants though. You know, plants that are sickly. I'm sure Christy has lots of stories about that.